In the vast expanse of the galaxy, power was often dictated by ancient alliances and the strength of one's arsenal. The Galactic Council, a governing body of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, convened in a chamber that shimmered with holographic projections of star maps and planetary systems. The air was tense, heavy with the weight of the decision they were about to make. The discussion centered on a species once dismissed as primitive and insignificant, humans. For centuries, humanity had been regarded as little more than a backwater anomaly, their blue planet teeming with chaotic life and unpredictable behavior. But in recent decades, something had changed. Humanity's technological and territorial advancements were exponential, bordering on miraculous. They had developed interstellar travel faster than the Council had anticipated. They had colonized planets deemed inhospitable by others. And, most disturbingly, their military prowess had become a force to be reckoned with. This cannot continue, the Zarthan High Chancellor declared, his many eyes glinting in the dim light. Humanity's growth is a threat to the balance we have maintained for millennia. They do not respect our boundaries. They do not adhere to our treaties. They are unpredictable. A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. The representatives of the Krelvik Dominion, known for their cold precision in warfare, nodded solemnly. Even the pacifist Amber Collective, who rarely involved themselves in matters of conflict, expressed concern over humanity's unchecked expansion. "We have offered them inclusion," an Amber representative said, her voice tinged with frustration. "They rejected it. We extended diplomacy. They responded with defiance. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would not negotiate. They would not be deterred by the Council's warnings. If left unchecked, they could disrupt the entire galactic order." The solution was clear. Humanity's key leaders had to be eliminated, their infrastructure destabilized, their ambitions crushed before they became unstoppable. "We must act decisively," the High Chancellor concluded. "For this, we require the shadows of eternity." The chamber fell silent. The shadows of eternity were a name that struck fear into even the most hardened of warriors. A clandestine group of assassins. Their existence was shrouded in myth and legend. Some claimed they were not entirely organic, their bodies enhanced with technology far beyond the comprehension of most species. Others whispered that they were ghosts, able to slip through defenses undetected, leaving chaos in their wake. A representative from the Osphur Syndicate, a race renowned for their dealings in the galaxy's underbelly, spoke up. "The shadows have never failed. If anyone can neutralize humanity's leadership, it is them." And so, the Council's decision was sealed. The shadows of eternity would be dispatched to Earth. Their mission: to eliminate the leaders of humanity's burgeoning empire and ensure the species remained fractured and weak. In their arrogance, the Council believed this would be the end of the human threat. They underestimated humanity's will to survive, and the darkness they could unleash when cornered. The shadows of eternity arrived on Earth with the precision and silence of a blade slipping between armor. Their entry was undetected, their cloaked ships bypassing Earth's formidable orbital defenses. For a species considered chaotic and reckless, humanity's technological capabilities were disturbingly efficient. Yet the assassins, legends of the galaxy, were confident. They had dismantled empires, toppled warlords, and extinguished rebellions before their flames could spread. Earth would be no different. Their first target was a high-ranking military strategist. Known for orchestrating victories in impossible scenarios, this individual was considered a cornerstone of humanity's growing military dominance. The shadows struck swiftly. By the time Earth's security forces discovered the breach, the strategist's compound was in ruins, and their body was never found. The shadows left no trace, no message, only the weight of their silence. Emboldened by this success, the assassins spread their operations across the planet. They sabotaged critical infrastructure, disrupted communication networks, and targeted influential leaders. Each strike was precise, leaving Earth's government scrambling to respond. Yet something felt wrong. The humans adapted too quickly. What should have been a seamless campaign of destabilization began to encounter resistance. In the depths of Earth's megacities and the sprawling orbital stations, humanity fought back with a ferocity that caught the assassins off guard. At first, it was subtle. The shadows would breach a facility only to find their target had been relocated moments earlier. Security drones appeared where none had been detected. Advanced AI systems intercepted their communications, forcing them to constantly shift tactics. The shadows were skilled, but they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered. Humanity's unpredictability was not a weakness. It was their greatest strength. Where other species adhered to logic and tradition, humans thrived on chaos, adapting and innovating in ways that defied understanding. One by one, the shadows began to fall. The first loss came during an infiltration of a research facility. What seemed like an unguarded location turned into a carefully orchestrated trap. Automated turrets activated with pinpoint accuracy, cutting down the operative before they could escape. Another assassin fell in the heart of a bustling city, overwhelmed by an ambush of heavily armed soldiers using technology that seemed too advanced for humanity's current level. As the casualties mounted, the shadows began to realize they were being hunted. The humans were not just defending themselves, they were retaliating. Surveillance footage leaked to the Galactic network showed masked human operatives countering the assassins with brutal efficiency. The once invincible shadows of eternity were now the prey, their mystique shattered. Fear began to creep into their ranks. This was not the primitive, divided species the Galactic Council had described. Humanity's ingenuity and resourcefulness made them dangerous, but it was something else that truly terrified the shadows. The whispers of a name. Wherever they struck, it seemed the humans were waiting. Plans were countered before they began, traps were set with surgical precision, and the word spread through encrypted human communications like a warning. The Baba Yaga is watching. The whispers of the Baba Yaga grew louder, spreading like wildfire through human military circles. The assassins, once the apex predators of the galaxy, were now on the defensive, their every move anticipated, their every strategy foiled. The shadows they relied on were no longer safe havens but traps. The name Baba Yaga was spoken in hushed tones, a terrifying figure who represented something far beyond what the shadows had anticipated, humanity's ultimate weapon. The Baba Yaga was no mere individual. It was a symbol, a force that transcended the ordinary understanding of war. Some said it was a myth, a constructed legend designed to inspire fear in enemies. Others believed it was a single human, an enigmatic figure, their true identity known to only a handful of trusted allies. What was certain, however, was that the Baba Yaga was not a being to be underestimated. No one had ever seen them directly, but their handiwork was unmistakable. The first sign of the Baba Yaga's involvement came when the shadows attempted to breach a major military communications hub. The facility was heavily guarded, yes, but the shadows had done this 1,000 times before. This mission, however, was different. As they made their move, the facility's defenses came online, unexpectedly, impossibly fast. The shadows found themselves walking into a perfectly executed kill zone. Traps were everywhere, remote detonated mines, redirected security systems, even automated turrets hidden in plain sight. What should have been a clean operation turned into a nightmare. The assassins fought back, but it was futile. Every move they made was anticipated. The location was rigged to break down in a series of escalating failures, each step more damaging than the last. The humans were not simply fighting, they were playing a game with rules known only to them, and those rules favored the humans. In a matter of hours, the shadows withdrew, their casualties mounting, and a single cryptic message was left behind in the ruins. The Baba Yaga was here. The next strike was even more devastating. A team of shadows infiltrated a heavily fortified base where key military leaders were being held. They were prepared for anything, except the overwhelming force of precision and terror unleashed upon them. The shadows entered, only to find that the base had been turned into a fortress of countermeasures, each designed not just to repel an attack, but to trap invaders in an intricate web. Each assassin that entered the base never left. One by one, their attempts to engage the humans were thwarted. Security systems locked them in, energy barriers surged to life, and hidden weapons systems activated. In the midst of it all, the humans remained unseen but ever-present. The Baba Yaga was not hunting them. They were hunting the Baba Yaga. In their desperation, the shadows turned to their intelligence network, desperate for any lead on the identity of the Baba Yaga. But there were no answers. All they found were stories, tales of humanity's greatest mind, a figure so elusive that even their allies in the council had never gotten close. The humans were clever enough to cloak even their most dangerous assets, hiding them in plain sight within their own ranks. By now, it was clear to the shadows that their usual methods would no longer work. They could not infiltrate. They could not assassinate. They could not win. Every time they adapted, the humans adapted faster. But they were not just reacting. They were setting traps. The shadows were being manipulated, outmaneuvered, and ultimately, overwhelmed by the very thing they had once exploited: human ingenuity. And amidst all this chaos, one fact remained. The Baba Yaga was not just a threat. It was the turning point. Humanity had found its true power, and the galaxy would soon understand that to cross them was a mistake no one would live to make again. The shadows of eternity, once the galaxy's most feared assassins, had been decimated, their ranks shattered, their spirits broken. Their reputation, forged through centuries of flawless execution, had crumbled in the face of humanity's unexpected brilliance. No one had anticipated this outcome. The Galactic Council, sitting in their grand chambers, faced the overwhelming reality. Humanity was not just a threat. It was a force that could no longer be controlled or contained. The final message came in a form that no one could ignore. It wasn't delivered by a fleet, a weapon, or a shadowy figure. It was a simple, chilling broadcast to the highest echelons of the Galactic Council. A cold, impersonal transmission flickered to life on the screens of the Council's leadership. It was brief but unmistakably clear. You sent your best. We unleashed ours. Next time, there will be no shadows left to hide in. The message was a warning, and it struck fear into the heart of the Council. For the first time, they saw humanity not as a primitive species to be erased but as an unstoppable force, one that was neither bound by the rules of war nor by the conventions of diplomacy. The quiet confidence behind the message spoke volumes. The Baba Yaga was not some rogue agent. It was an extension of humanity's will, a symbol of the lengths they would go to in order to protect their own. This wasn't a defeat in the traditional sense. It was a shift in power. The Council had been wrong in their calculations. Humanity had been underestimated, and now, with the shadows of eternity broken, the galaxy would have to reckon with a new player on the stage. One that didn't play by the old rules. The implications were immediate. Worlds that had once relied on the Council's protection now looked to humanity for guidance, and those who had stood against them found themselves questioning their own strategies. The Galactic Council scrambled to formulate a response, but there was nothing they could do. They had no leverage, no armies to send, and no allies left to call upon. Humanity had proven that it could withstand the galaxy's most elite assassins and still emerge stronger than before. The power balance had shifted, and no amount of bureaucracy or military force could turn it back. In the wake of the defeat, humanity's influence began to spread. The once rigid alliances within the Council fractured as its members turned on each other, each uncertain of how to deal with a species that had just demonstrated its capacity to wage war on its own terms. Some leaders, fearful of further retribution, sought to negotiate, to open channels of diplomacy, but humanity's message was clear. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to lead. With the shadows of eternity shattered and their reputation in ruins, the galaxy could no longer ignore the rise of humanity. They were not the helpless species the Council had once believed them to be. Humanity was a force that could not be tamed, a species that would fight not just for survival but for dominance. And as the galaxy watched, it became evident that humanity was only beginning. The Baba Yaga, a figure that had once seemed mythical, was now a symbol of their strength. The message to the Council was unmistakable. Humanity had unleashed its power, and this was only the beginning.